What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review and an unboxing of 88 Films' The Blue Monster. That's right, it's a Hong Kong film. First up, I want to say happy holidays to everyone. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and whatever you do celebrate. And if nothing at all, I hope you had a great week and I hope you have a happy new year. We're going to be doing stuff up until the new year. Don't forget, we got our top 20 horror movies that's going to come out on the podcast. And I'm probably going to do like the top 5 movies or 10 movies on here. So you can get the best of both worlds on that. But it's going to come out the podcast first. And then it'll come here. 88 Films put this one out for their 88 Asia collection, and MVD Entertainment sent this out to me, so thank you very much. So you guys know I am a huge Hong Kong fan now, whether they're Category 3, Category 2, or just weird or funny. I just like these types of films. Hong Kong has put out a great wealth of film. Now, this isn't one of the most popular ones, but it is by Golden Harvest, who was a huge kind of producer of a lot of different films, including even Ricky-O or Saga of the Phoenix or just a ton of different Hong Kong films. They were produced by a man by the name of Choi Lam, which is Chualam. Now, we're not talking about director Nai Choi Lam, who many of you may recognize from the Ricky-O movie, which he has also done The Cat, and many other really wild, fun films. But this is the producer who did that, and he hired Nai Choi Lam to do Ricky-O. So that's the same producer that actually helped put this together, and he hired a director by the name of Ivan Lai and got really famous. Not something he really was super proud of or necessarily wanted to be famous for, but he did some Category 3 films like, let's see, Erotic Ghost Story 3, Daughters of Darkness 1 and 2. He also did The Imp, which we covered on the podcast here from 1996, which was a weird story about a security guard who worked in this like haunted building, which is really wild. But yeah, the idea on this is pretty interesting because it came from the movie Dead Heat right here. Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams acting pretty silly in 1988 as a buddy cop comedy where one of them dies and the other one's alive. And Treat Williams is the super cop that goes around getting shot up and not dying. And they wanted to make a movie similar to that, which that wasn't even a big film, so you can imagine this film wasn't either. So I'm going to get into this film and what I think about it as a review first, spoiler-free, and then we'll get into the extras and what are on the disc. Now, this doesn't have a lot on the disc, but, you know, it is one of those things for those Hong Kong collectors who like weird cinemas. Let's get into it now. So yeah, this is actually a pretty fun movie. It's about a cop who gets killed, just like Dead Heat did, you know, but this is a guy who is expected to be father. His wife is pregnant. He's kind of a silly guy, but he's also a really good detective. And his underling, his guy that's working for him, that's kind of like an informant. I don't know what he is. He just lives with him, I guess. But he actually tells him that there's going to be a bank robbery, and the guy who plays the Blue Monster sends his wife home, the detective, and she's none too happy about the situation. And he ends up getting into a chase with these robbers. Well, there's another girl who's involved who actually steals the money from them accidentally. As he's chasing them, they end up getting the upper hand on him and smashing him. As he's dying, a cat lays on his chest and lightning strikes at the same time, which, you know what that means? No, I actually, what? That's what I was thinking. But apparently this turns him into a vampire. I don't think it makes him a vampire. It makes him sort of like an undead sort of zombie, but he's almost like part Frankenstein, part vampire, because his eyes look like a vampire. He doesn't feed or drink on blood, but he walks around and kind of looks like a Frankenstein, like a Hong Kong Frankenstein in a way. And he doesn't feel pain. So very similar to the movie Dead Heat, as I mentioned. Like I said, it's not a huge popular film. It is a horror, comedy, action film. There is some gore and graphic stuff in the film. In fact, in the beginning, the robbers like shoot a bunch of people, including limbs going flying off, which was pretty cool. There is a lot of gore in the film that our blue monster gets hurt a lot of times, but he doesn't feel it kind of thing. And so there's some pretty grotesque, gross out moments in the film involving his stomach. Now, I will be honest, this isn't going to be a movie that a lot of people are going to latch onto for Hong Kong. It's not going to be like that top tier where everybody just loves it and you gotta see it. Like for me, Boxer's Omen is one of those movies that just blew my fucking mind. Blue Monster is a movie that has fun things in it, that is actually pretty funny. It does kind of rock a little bit between boring and funny, but there is a lot going on that kind of makes this kind of pick up more at the very end than it does throughout the whole film. So really, you're kind of bumbling around with the detective as these other bad guys are trying to find their money with this other girl who accidentally stole it. There's a lot of gags involving some of the gore where he gets hurt, him eating food, but it all comes out his stomach hole that he got pierced with. So it's kind of, they do some really gross things with that. There's a breast scene in this movie. It's not a nude breast. It's just a really, I don't even know what to call it. A milking? That scene made me laugh out loud just because I didn't know what to do. But there is a lot of action in the film, car crashes and all kinds of crazy stuff that are in this film. It does lack a little bit in some areas when they're kind of storytelling and like you getting to know the characters. His wife is always mad at him. He's trying to prevent her from knowing what has happened to him as well as many other people. And everybody's trying to figure out what is wrong with him. Why is he all of a sudden acting weird? He's allergic to the light. He can't be in light. He has to wear shades, not eating as much. There's just a lot of really weird things going on with this detective. Of course, it all leads to a big ending where they're getting their money back and a lot of people are in the crossfire. So of course the blue monster has to kind of save the day. Really all he wants to do is live to see his child be born. He's kind of a badass, but he needs to get recharged in some ways. Very similar to like Jason Statham's Crank. It does have that sort of Crank flair, but nothing as fast-paced as Crank 1 and 2. Like, those movies are like a thrill ride. This one's a little more splotchy and might not hit for everybody. That's why I say you might want to tone down your expectations a little bit with this one because it's not going to be your 8 out of 10, your 9 out of 10 Hong Kong weird as fuck film. It's worth a watch, but I think a lot of people are going to be very mid on it. I think it's like a 5.5 at the lowest to a 6.5. So I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10 on the Hong Kong scale. What to expect from Hong Kong films in general and other films that I've seen so far based on it. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. And it does pick itself up by the end a little bit. Some of the cast in this movie is Fui-On, who plays the Blue Monster. He was the leading role in this film. This was his only leading role, by the way. He did movies like Prison on Fire, A Better Tomorrow, The Killer. He played a lot of really tough guys, you know, whether it's a cop or like some sort of gang member. So they thought, oh, this would be good for him because he's kind of playing both. They also have Japanese star, now not Hong Kong star, Japanese star Jun Kunimura, who, if you may recognize, very young in this film, by the way. One of his first films before he started getting popular. He was in movies like The Wailing, one of the more recent ones, Ichi the Killer, Black Rain, Kill Bill. He was in a ton of Takashi Miike films and Ryuichi Kitamura films as well. So he has run the gamut of Japanese cinema and Hong Kong too. So now, is this the best bad guy I've seen in a film? No, definitely not. But there's some cool stuff that does happen in here with him and some of the bad guys in the film. The gore is, you know, expect about a 6-7 gore level, about a 7. You know, it's good. It's just not the best, but there is some really funny gags that they use with it for the comedy. And I can't mention the breast scene enough because holy shit, what the fuck? I've never seen anything like that. It's not going to be for everybody, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm very glad to have it. There's stuff that's going to be in these films that you'll never see in any other film. But overall, you know, I have to look at the whole big picture and compare it against other Hong Kong films. And I would still give this a 6. It may be higher for some people. I've seen some people say this is one of their favorite films. Maybe that's nostalgia. I don't know. I still liked it. 6 out of 10 isn't bad at all, especially if you're a collector of Hong Kong films. Also, you can pick this one up right now. It came out on the 26th of December, kind of an odd date. You can now buy the copy on, MVD Entertainment's website, their shop. You can go to Amazon, Diabolic DVD. I'll put all the links down below for you, but let's get into some of the ingredients now. So first up, we got the cover, which I gotta say, I really enjoy the look of this. This is a cool looking release. And I hope they do this sort of foil look to it. I don't know if it does it justice on the camera here, but maybe the B-roll will show it a little bit better. The purples and the blue sides. Here's the back, of course. On the inside, we don't get a reversible. So, it's the same thing on the back as the other one. We do get, of course, the funny little, like him getting charged up with electricity. The blue monster there on the disc, which is region A and B for those of you who are worried. For those of you who have a region-free player, well, you should be good. Doesn't matter anyway. We also get a poster inside of here, which you have a double-sided poster, which is really cool. And I really like the cover, but you know what? The original poster, which is not in a vertical format, is also pretty dope as well. It's on the inside of the thing here as well. So some of the extras on here, just a couple of things. We got this is the limited edition slipcase, by the way, that you get with it. We get the double-sided fold-out poster, which I mentioned. It is in 1080p, featuring the original Cantonese mono with English subtitles. Interview that's with the assistant director, Sam Leung, who has worked on a lot of films in Hong Kong as well as Japan. He does an interview about Ivan Lai, who has since passed away in 2016. And he kind of talks about his life and also Ivan Lai's and like how Ivan Lai was on set. They get into a lot of stuff about that and kind of how the movie came about. And we also get an original Hong Kong trailer, the stills gallery. That's it for that on the extras on here. I do wish that they had more extras, but I will say that Sam Leung, conversation and interview with him is pretty awesome. So I think you'll enjoy watching that. The quality on the video of this movie looked really good. I've never seen it before, so I can't really compare it to anything. But it looked fantastic to me, and the audio sounded pretty damn good. It wasn't too blaring or anything. Sometimes those mono tracks can be a little too blaring. Like the original Boxer's Omen was a little blaring in some moments. As far as the release goes, I would say it's a little low on the extras, but if you're a fan of weird Hong Kong cinema and you're kind of new to Hong Kong cinema, this is one to grab, I think, for weird, because there are some really funny things that happen in this film. Just understand that if you are a big fan of Hong Kong and you don't really like to dig for the weirder stuff, this may not be for you. But for those of you who are looking for those weird gems that just kind of pop out a little bit, aren't the best film in the world, but still have some fun moments in it, this will be for you. But yeah, thank you so much, MVD Entertainment, for sending that out. And thank you so much, 88 Films, for putting out a great set of Asian films here. I'm really enjoying all of them, really. I'm just enjoying seeing a lot of Hong Kong films in general get the light here, and 88 Films is really pumping them out. But yeah, what do you guys think? Does that sound like something you'd want? And if you've seen the movie, did you think he was a vampire, or did you think he was more of I don't know, Frankenstein? Because he seemed like a really good Frankenstein to me, but I don't know. I'll leave it down for you guys in the comments down below. Is this something that you would be picking up in the future, or maybe wait and see? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please, of course, subscribe. We got a lot more, not just Hong Kong. We do horror. We do horror adjacent stuff, unboxings, big hauls, all kinds of stuff that I got coming up. And if you love Lovecraft, well, we got a lot more for you guys coming very soon. New Year's coming. 2023 best of horror movies of the year. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but we're going to be going over that soon on the podcast. It'll be a top 20 list. And on here, I'll do the top 5, and then you can go listen to the podcast, the top 20. But the podcast is going to come out first, and then I'll do the top 5 on here to kind of let you know about the podcast. So just be on the lookout. But other than that, thank you guys so much for coming by. And as always, long live the void.